Okay, let's talk about the siege of Sarajevo. Now, Sarajevo is going to be the capital of Bosnia-Herzegovina. When you're talking about the siege of Sarajevo and why the city would be attacked, that's going to be the big reason why. Now, this is going to take place from April 2nd, 1992, all the way up until February 29th, 1996, which is going to be the longest continuous siege of one individual location in the history of modern warfare. So this is going to be going on consistently for a very long and very extended period of time, which is really significant to understand exactly how long this went on and really how brutal it would have been for those individuals living there. It's going to start as a response to the independence referendum by Bosnia-Herzegovina, and it's going to continue all the way up until 1996. To start off with, you're going to get 13,000 VRS soldiers. Again, these are those soldiers from Republika Srpska, the former JNA soldiers. They're going to blockade the city. When the city is blockaded, this means there is no food, no medicine getting into the city. So their essential supplies that they need to survive as a city are not present anymore. Additionally, their utilities are going to be shut off. So their access to water is shut off. Their access to electricity is shut off. And this is going to be problematic. Bosnia-Herzegovina is not necessarily the warmest of countries. So it's winter time. Getting these things shut off is not going to be a good thing for any individuals living here. The Bosnian forces, additionally, are poorly equipped, so their ability to defend is problematic and challenged simply due to their lack of resources. Remember, there is a UN arms embargo going on at this time as well. Now, on August 30th, 1992, there's going to be an artillery shell that lands at a market. This artillery shell, when it lands, is going to kill 15 individuals. I believe they were all civilians. I'm not 100% certain on that, and it's going to wound 100 more. Again, it's not really good for your PR campaign in a war when you're bombing markets and stuff like this. So this is going to hurt the Yugoslav and Serbian position at this time. You're going to get the Sarajevo Tunnel at this time as well, which is going to be completed in mid-1993, credited with saving the city. So this is really a way of getting goods in and out of the city because it's blockaded. It's going to be also used to bring arms into the city, which is a way of doing it to avoid the UN embargo. It's not legal, but it's happening. Additionally, it's going to get people out, which is going to be credited with saving their lives as well. So the Sarajevo Tunnel is a crucially important thing to understand when talking about the siege of Sarajevo and really how the people inside were able to last as long as they did while being blockaded and sieged. Because that's not exactly an easy thing to do. September of 1993, by this time period, so a little over a year into the siege, it is estimated that in every single building inside of the city of Sarajevo had at least some damage from this siege. This is talking about military buildings, public buildings, and then private homes as well, and private individual buildings had all been damaged in some degree. So really, when you think about that, Sarajevo is not a small little village. It is a major world city. So the fact that every building had some damage really goes to show the exact scale of this siege. Then we're going to get the Marketplace Massacre on February 5th, 1994. At this time, you're going to have 68 individuals killed, 200 wounded when a shell is going to land in the middle of a crowded marketplace. It's going to be the largest single loss of life in this entire conflict in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And this is going to be deeply problematic, particularly for the Serbian point of view right here when it comes to getting outside support. Deeply problematic from everyone else's point of view because civilians are being killed, and that's problematic. This is going to lead to NATO's intervention right through here. Now, the United Nations is going to request that NATO comes in and carries out airstrikes. And on February 6, 1994, NATO is going to respond to the Market Massacre with airstrikes, with an ultimatum, They're going to give an ultimatum that states, you either remove weapons from the hills around Sarajevo, or we are going to strike you, and we're going to strike hard. So there is this kind of thing going on right here. Remember, NATO is a North Atlantic Treaty Organization originally founded in 1949 to combat Soviet aggression in Europe and North Atlantic countries. Again, the Soviet Union fell in 1991, so there is kind of this discussion of whether or not NATO is still relevant and NATO still needs to be around. So this is kind of also a way of NATO flexing its muscles and saying, yep, we're going to stick around. We have a reason to exist. We're going to get involved in this situation. You remove your weapons from the hills or we bomb you. In 1995, the Serbs are going to seize weapons from a UN guarded location, and they're going to use this to then begin to shell targets. So again, there is a UN embargo happening here. The Serbians fighting in Bosnia-Herzegovina are going to seize these weapons and attack. Okay, and again, in response to this, the United Nations is going to request NATO bombing. NATO, or the United Nations, excuse me, can't really do anything right through here. Again, you have the Security Council, the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, one of them being Russia. If they veto anything, they all have veto power. If something is vetoed, it's not going to happen. Russia is a close ally of Serbia, therefore NATO really has no ability to get stuff through it. Or United Nations has no real ability to actually pass anything at this time period. Thus the reason they're going to NATO. NATO is going to attack a Serbian armed depot on the 25th and 26th of 1995, really in response to this previous attack. Serbs are then going to come in and capture UN soldiers, using them as human shields, which is going to force NATO to stop their bombing campaign because they do not want to kill United Nations soldiers. This is something that's important to discuss as well. The implications of war crimes that could be committed at this time period. The use of human shields is something that is discussed frequently in this conflict. I didn't go into a lot of detail about it right now, but it is something that I would recommend looking into when talking about this conflict in Bosnia-Herzegovina. May 27th, 1995, we're going to get Serbian soldiers posing as French troops. They're going to use French weapons and French vehicles, which they stole from UN peacekeepers who were French as well. And they're going to take a strategic bridge without conflict, kind of just walk in and take the bridge. Again, using French soldiers as human shields, dressed as French. So once they realize that they're actually not the UN and not the French protecting this bridge, they're not going to be able to fire because they have human shields right through there. The French are obviously not going to be happy about this when they find out what's going on. They're going to respond. It's going to be a clash. 2 French soldiers are going to be killed. They're not the 2 that were used as shields. By the end of the day, though, the Serbs are going to maintain control of one side of the bridge. France and the United Nations have control of the other side of the bridge. We're going to get the second Markhale massacre on August 28th, 1995. 37 are going to be killed this time and 90 wounded. So the same market that had the previous attack, the largest single event of casualty in the entire conflict, there's another one going on here. At this point, the international community is firmly against Serbia. There's really no rationale on the international community's point of view for what Serbia is doing right now. Whether or not this was a target, it could be up for debate potentially. Regardless, though, it's just not looking good for Serbia right now on the international scale, and the world is not real happy about them. September 1st, 1995, the United Nations and NATO demand weapons be removed from the hills of Sarajevo by September 4th. So once again, they're saying, get these weapons out, or there's going to be an action right through here. They refuse, and there's going to be airstrikes in Serbian positions on September 5th, 1995. By September 20th, the weapons are removed. So Serbia at this point is forced to remove their weapons in order to get the airstrikes to cease. There's going to be a ceasefire reached October of 1995, which is going to bring us to the Dayton Agreement. So if you look right through here, you're going to see the first map that I showed talking about the ethnic makeup of Bosnia-Herzegovina. The second one is going to be the agreement from the Dayton Accords. Okay, so it's in Dayton, Ohio, mediated by the United States, December 14th, where they agree to what was supposed to be a temporary split of the nation into 2 distinct entities. Okay, so we're going to get Bosnian Croat Federation and then the Bosnian Serb Republic, divided heavily along ethnic lines, really kind of splitting the country in 2. You can see how they went about and did this. Really kind of strategically. It's not a very clean-cut border. It's made primarily on ethnicity. Serb forces are forced to leave the city by February 29th, 1996, which is the last day of the siege. By this time, 7,000 Serbian forces leave Republic of Srpska and are gone. In the entire siege of Sarajevo, you're going to have 2,474 individuals killed. So again, it's the longest siege in the history of modern warfare. But it's also an incredibly devastating attack. Sarajevo was virtually, not completely destroyed, but it was in grave damage. A large number of individuals were killed, and you have a large number of people, like just destruction within the city. which is still felt today to some extent. If you have any questions or comments, please do let me know. We'll get more into that later. Take care. See you later. Good luck.